Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 15 of our Supersize Your Business Challenge, our Supersize Your Business Annual Challenge. I leave the word out sometimes because I know people hear annual and they're like, what do you mean it's a year-long challenge? Well, yep, it sure is. And this is the 9th year I've been doing it, so I know how powerful it is and how it can work for you by just doing one little thing every single day. Well, today, and this week, we are going deep into the SOAP framework. It's a framework I came up with in 2020 during the pandemic to keep myself moving forward, to make sure I was focusing on solutions and continuing to move forward, even though most of our lives were totally blown up in some way or another. We were either working all the time because our jobs were essential, or we were at home twiddling our thumbs trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do for 2 weeks, 2 months? Turned out to be more like 2 years for many of us. But some of us remembered that even though the world around us is changing, we have the ability and the personal power to do something positive with it. I've never seen more people's yards and lawns and homes look better than they did during the pandemic. Things that have been let go because we just didn't have the time or energy to do it after working our full-time jobs that had gotten run down or neglected, all of a sudden we're getting fixed and repaired and improved. So there were positive things that came out of the pandemic, but in my opinion, the vast majority of it was nonsense and negative, and manipulation and corruption, yada, yada, yada. All right, so what is step 2 of this SOAP framework process? Options. And the thing we want to remember as we're filling the gap between where we are and where we want to be, because yesterday we said, this is my current story, my current situation, this is what I want it to be. I selected, I don't know if I shared it or not, $10,000 MMR, monthly recurring revenue, in the Supersize school platform, the community that I'm setting up there. Now, obviously, I'm not even monetizing yet, so I'm not there yet. MMR, 0. How do I get from 0 to 10K, $10,000 every single month recurring? That is my challenge. So what I'm going to do is brainstorm today. That's the gap I have to fill, right? 10K. I like it because it's measurable and easy to know if I'm moving in the right direction or not with the actions that I decide to take. But we're not there yet. Right now, we're just saying, okay, what are the possible ways that I can fill that gap? And I like to share, and I don't know where I put it, my 1031 tool. I put it back. What on earth was I thinking? So 1031 tool is just a tool that it's a brainstorming tool, and it aligns with the challenge perfectly, is why I like to share it and use it. Of course, it's not right here. Oh, ta-da, it's right on top. 1031. Why? Because we're going to brainstorm at least 10 ways not to fill the entire gap. I'm trying to think if I've ever had a situation where I identified the gap, I did one thing and only one thing, and I went from where I was to where I wanted to be, ultimately. I might have done it with problem solving some problems where, okay, this is the action we need to take. We take it and the problem gets resolved. I can think of maybe a few instances where that's happened, but for the most part, no. We got to do a bunch of things to figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work. One of my favorite tools, Post-it notes, right? These are actually not all Post-it notes. Some of them are knockoff Post-it notes, or knockoff notes. They're not Post-it notes. They're sticky notes if they're not Post-it notes. Post-it notes is, of course, a trademark name. Anyway, my dad worked at 3M when Post-it notes were invented. And so they have been a part of my life, like, since they were invented. I'd have to look up exactly what year it was, but I remember always using and always having Post-it notes, which is why I always have a pack on me for things like this, for brainstorming, because I can write one idea per Post-it note and put them up and look at them and see them, which makes the next part of the 1031 brainstorming tool super duper easy, because I've already got them laid out. Now, why do I push for at least 10? Because as human beings, we have this tendency to think all or nothing. It either has to be this way of achieving our outcome, or nothing else will work. Well, how ridiculous is that? How ludicrous is it for us to think that there's only one way to do things? We know that there's multiple ways of doing things. We know that there's multiple ways and infinite possible ways to fill the gap between where we are and where we want to be, no matter what it is that you selected to run the SOAP framework through. So I absolutely positively know there are infinite ways to go from 0 to 10K a month. Absolutely infinite ways. I did it in corporate America. My second job out of corporate America. Out of college, I mean, in corporate America. There's a lot of ways to skin an onion. I'm going to say skin an onion, peel an onion. And we just have to decide. We make the list. And then, of course, tomorrow we're going to look at that list and decide, okay, which one is going to give us the biggest bang for our buck and how are we going to move forward with that. But today, I challenge you to find a tab of Post-it notes. If you work anywhere, I guarantee you probably have sticky notes or Post-it notes in your office supply room. You probably have some in your desk. You might even be like me and have some in your purse. But I challenge you to create 10 of these little buggers, slap them up, and we're going to use them tomorrow. Any questions about this? Ask, ask, ask. Otherwise, have an awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.